Matthew Henry's Commentary on the Whole Bible. Numbers 4. In the former chapter an account was taken of the whole tribe of Levi. In this we have an account of those of that tribe who were in the prime of their time for service, betwixt 30 and 50 years old. 1. The serviceable men of the Kohathites are ordered to be numbered, and their charges are given them, verses 2 to 20. 2. Of the Gershonites, verses 24 to 28. 3. Of the Merarites, verses 29 to 33. 4. The numbers of each and the sum total at last are recorded, verse 34, etc. The office of the Levites, 1490 BC. 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, 2. Take the sum of the sons of Kohath from among the sons of Levi, after their families, by the house of their fathers, 3. From 30 years old and upward even until 50 years old, all that enter into the host, to do the work in the tabernacle of the congregation. For this shall be the service of the sons of Kohath in the tabernacle of the congregation, about the most holy things. 5. And when the camp setteth forward, Aaron shall come, and his sons, and they shall take down the covering veil, and cover the ark of testimony with it. 6. And shall put thereon the covering of badgers' skins, and shall spread over it a cloth wholly of blue, and shall put in the staves thereof. 7. And upon the table of showbread they shall spread a cloth of blue, and put thereon the dishes, and the spoons, and the bowls, and covers to cover withal, and the continual bread shall be thereon. 8. And they shall spread upon them a cloth of scarlet, and cover the same with a covering of badgers' skins, and shall put in the staves thereof. 9. And they shall take a cloth of blue, and cover the candlestick of the light, and his lamps, and his tongs, and his snuff dishes, and all the oil vessels thereof, wherewith they minister unto it. 10. And they shall put it, and all the vessels thereof within a covering of badgers' skins, and shall put it upon a bar. 11. And upon the golden altar they shall spread a cloth of blue, and cover it with a covering of badgers' skins, and shall put to the staves thereof. 12. And they shall take all the instruments of ministry, wherewith they minister in the sanctuary, and put them in a cloth of blue, and cover them with a covering of badgers' skins, and shall put them on a bar. 13. And they shall take away the ashes from the altar, and spread a purple cloth thereon. 14. And they shall put upon it all the vessels thereof, wherewith they minister about it, even the censers, the flesh hooks, and the shovels, and the basins, all the vessels of the altar, and they shall spread upon it a covering of badgers' skins, and put to the staves of it. 15. And when Aaron and his sons have made an end of covering the sanctuary, and all the vessels of the sanctuary, as the camp is to set forward, after that, the sons of Kohath shall come to bear it, but they shall not touch any holy thing, lest they die. These things are the burden of the sons of Kohath in the tabernacle of the congregation. 16. And to the office of Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest pertaineth the oil for the light, and the sweet incense, and the daily meat offering, and the anointing oil, and the oversight of all the tabernacle, and of all that therein is, in the sanctuary, and in the vessels thereof. 17. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, 18. Cut ye not off the tribe of the families of the Kohathites from among the Levites. 19. But thus do unto them, that they may live, and not die, when they approach unto the most holy things. Aaron and his sons shall go in, and appoint them every one to his service and to his burden. 20. But they shall not go in to see when the holy things are covered, lest they die. We have here a second muster of the tribe of Levi. As that tribe was taken out of all Israel to be God's peculiar, so the middle-aged men of that tribe were taken from among the rest to be actually employed in the service of the tabernacle. Now observe. 1. Who are to be taken into this number? All the males from 30 years old to 50. Of the other tribes, those that were numbered to go forth to war were from 20 years old and upward, but of the Levites only from 30 to 50. For the service of God requires the best of our strength, and the prime of our time, which cannot be better spent than to the honor of him who is the first and best. And a man may make a good soldier much sooner than a good minister. Now, 1. They were not to be employed till they were 30 years old, because till then they were in danger of retaining something childish and youthful, and had not gravity enough to do the service, and were the honor, of a Levite. They were entered as probationers at 25 years old, chapter 8 verse 24, and in David's time, when there was more work to be done, at 20, 1 Chronicles 23 verse 24, and so Ezra 3 verse 8, but they must be 5 years learning and waiting, and so fitting themselves for service. Nay, in David's time they were 10 years in preparation, from 20 to 30. John Baptist began his public ministry, and Christ his, at 30 years old. This is not in the letter of it obligatory on gospel ministers now, as if they must either not begin their work till 30 years old or must leave off at 50, but it gives us 2 good rules. 1. That ministers must not be novices, 1 Timothy 3 verse 6. It is a work that requires ripeness of judgment and great steadiness, and therefore those are very unfit for it who are but babes in knowledge, and have not put away childish things. 2. That they must learn before they teach, serve before they rule, and must first be proved, 1 Timothy 3 verse 10. 2. They were discharged at 50 years old from the toilsome part of the service, particularly that of carrying the tabernacle, for that is the special service to which they are here ordained, and which there was most occasion for while they were in the wilderness. When they began to enter upon old age, they were dismissed. 1. In favor to them, that they might not be overtoiled when their strength began to decay. 20 years' good service was thought pretty well for one man. 2. In honor to the work, that it might not be done by those who, through the infirmities of age, were slow and heavy. The service of God should be done when we are in the most lively active frame. Those do not consider this who put off their repentance to old age, and so leave the best work to be done in the worst time. 2. How their work is described. They are said to enter into the host, or warfare, to do the work in the tabernacle. The ministry is a good work. 1 Timothy 3 verse 1. Ministers are not ordained to the honor only, but to the labor, not only to have the wages, but to do the work. It is also a good warfare. 1 Timothy 1 verse 18. Those that enter into the ministry must look upon themselves as entered into the host, and approve themselves good soldiers. 2 Timothy 2 verse 3. Now, as to the sons of Kohath in particular, here is 1. Their service appointed them, in the removes of the tabernacle. Afterwards, when the tabernacle was fixed, they had other work assigned them, but this was the work of the day, which was to be done in its day. Observe, wherever the camp of Israel went, the tabernacle of the Lord went with them, and care must be taken for the carriage of it. Note, wherever we go, we must see to it that we take our religion along with us, and not forget that or any part of it. Now the Kohathites were to carry all the holy things of the tabernacle. They were charged with those things before, chapter 3 verse 31, but here they have more particular instructions given them. 1. Aaron and his sons the priests must pack up the things which the Kohathites were to carry, as here directed, verse 5, etc. God had before appointed that none should come into the most holy place, but only Aaron once a year with a cloud of incense, Leviticus 16 verse 2, and yet, the necessity of their unsettled state requiring it, that law is here dispensed with, for every time they removed Aaron and his sons went in to take down the ark, and make it up for carriage, for, as the learned Bishop Patrick suggests, the Shekinah, or display of the divine majesty, which was over the mercy seat, removed for the present in the pillar of cloud, which was taken up, and then the ark was not dangerous to be approached. 2. All the holy things must be covered, the ark and table with 3 coverings, all the rest with 2. Even the ashes of the altar, in which the holy fire was carefully preserved and raked up, must have a purple cloth spread over them, verse 13. Even the brazen altar, though in the court of the sanctuary it stood open to the view of all, yet was covered in the carriage of it. All these coverings were designed, 1. For safety, that these holy things might not be ruffled with the wind, sullied with the rain, nor tarnished with the sun, but that they might be preserved in their beauty, for on all the glory shall be a defense. The coverings of badgers' skins, being thick and strong, would keep out wet, and, while we are in our passage through the wilderness of this world, it concerns us to be fenced for all weathers, Isaiah 4 verses 5 and 6. 2. For decency and ornament. Most of these things had a cloth of blue, or purple, or scarlet, spread outmost, and the ark was covered with a cloth wholly of blue, verse 6, an emblem, say some, of the azure skies, which are spread like a curtain between us and the majesty on high, Job 26 verse 9. Those that are faithful to God should endeavor likewise to appear beautiful before men, that they may adorn the doctrine of God our Savior. 3. For concealment. It signified the darkness of that dispensation. That which is now brought to light by the gospel, and revealed to babes, was then hidden from the wise and prudent. They saw only the coverings, not the holy things themselves, Hebrews 10 verse 1, but now Christ has destroyed the face of the covering, Isaiah 25 verse 7. 3. When all the holy things were covered, then the Kohathites were to carry them on their shoulders. These things that had staves were carried by their staves, verses 6, 8, 11 and 14. Those that had not were carried upon a bar, or bier, or bearing barrow, verses 10 and 12. See how the tokens of God's presence in this world are movable things, but we look for a kingdom that cannot be moved. 2. Eleazar, now the eldest son of Aaron, is appointed overseer of the Kohathites in this service, verse 16, he must take care that nothing was forgotten, left behind, or displaced. As a priest he had more honor than the Levites, but then he had more care, and that care was a heavier burden, no doubt, upon his heart, than all the burdens that were laid upon their shoulders. It is much easier to do the work of the tabernacle than to discharge the trusts of it, to obey than to rule. 3. Great care must be taken to preserve the lives of these Levites, by preventing their unseasonable irreverent approach to the most holy things. Cut you not off the Kohathites, verse 18. Note, those who do not what they can to keep others from sin do what they can to cut them off. 1. The Kohathites must not see the holy things till the priests had covered them, verse 20. Even those that bore the vessels of the Lord saw not what they bore, so much were even those in the dark concerning the gospel whose office it was to expound the law. And 2. When the holy things were covered, they might not touch them, at least not the ark, called here the holy thing, upon pain of death, verse 15. Uzzah was struck dead for the breach of this law. Thus were the Lord's ministers themselves then kept in fear, and that was a dispensation of terror, as well as darkness. But now, through Christ, the case is altered. We have seen with our eyes, and our hands have handles, the word of life, 1 John 1 verse 1, and we are encouraged to come boldly to the throne of grace. 21 And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, 22 Take also the sum of the sons of Gershon, throughout the houses of their fathers, by their families, 23 From 30 years old and upward until 50 years old shalt thou number them, all that enter in to perform the service, to do the work in the tabernacle of the congregation. 24 This is the service of the families of the Gershonites, to serve, and for burdens. 25 And they shall bear the curtains of the tabernacle, and the tabernacle of the congregation, his covering, and the covering of the badger's skins that is above upon it, and the hanging for the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. 26 And the hangings of the court, and the hanging for the door of the gate of the court, which is by the tabernacle, and by the altar round about, and their cords, and all the instruments of their service, and all that is made for them, so shall they serve. 27 At the appointment of Aaron and his sons shall be all the service of the sons of the Gershonites, in all their burdens, and in all their service, and ye shall appoint unto them in charge all their burdens. 28 This is the service of the families of the sons of Gershon in the tabernacle of the congregation, and their charge shall be under the hand of Ithamar the son of Aaron the priest. 29 As for the sons of Merari, thou shalt number them after their families, by the house of their fathers, 30 From 30 years old and upward even unto 50 years old shalt thou number them, every one that entereth into the service, to do the work of the tabernacle of the congregation. 31 And this is the charge of their burden, according to all their service in the tabernacle of the congregation, the boards of the tabernacle, and the bars thereof, and the pillars thereof, and sockets thereof. 32 And the pillars of the court round about, and their sockets, and their pins, and their cords, with all their instruments, and with all their service. And by name ye shall reckon the instruments of the charge of their burden. 33 This is the service of the families of the sons of Merari, according to all their service, in the tabernacle of the congregation, under the hand of Ithamar the son of Aaron the priest. We have here the charge of the other two families of the Levites, which, though not so honorable as the first, yet was necessary, and was to be done regularly. 1. The Gershonites were charged with all the drapery of the tabernacle, the curtains, and hangings, and the coverings of badger skins, verses 22 to 26. These they were to take down when the cloud removed, and the ark and the rest of the holy things were carried away, to pack up and bring with them, and then to set up again, where the cloud rested. Aaron and his sons allotted to them their respective charge. You shall take care of such a curtain, and you of such a hanging, that every one may know his work, and there may be no confusion. Verse 27. Ithamar particularly was to take the oversight of them. Verse 28. 2. The Merarites were charged with the heavy carriage, the boards and bars, the pillars and sockets, the pins and cords, and these were delivered to them by name. Verses 31 and 32. An inventory was given them of every particular, that it might be forthcoming, and nothing to seek, when the tabernacle was to be set up again. Though these seemed of less importance than the other things pertaining to the sanctuary, yet there was this care taken of them, to teach us with the greatest exactness to preserve pure and entire all divine institutions, and to take care that nothing be lost. It also intimates the care God takes of his church and every member of it. The good shepherd calls his own sheep by name, John 10 verse 3. Here were thousands of men employed about these services, though a much less number would have served for the bearing of those burdens, but it was requisite that the tabernacle should be taken down and set up with great expedition, and many hands would make quick work, especially when every one knew his work. They had tents of their own to take care of and to take along with them, but the young men under 30 and the old men above 50 might serve for them, nor is there any mention of them, for God's house must always be preferred before our own. Their care was preposterous who built and sealed their own houses while God's house lay waste. Haggai 1 verses 4 and 9. The death of the saints is represented as the taking down of the tabernacle, 2 Corinthians 5 verse 1, and the putting of it off, 2 Peter 1 verse 14. The immortal soul, like the most holy things, is first covered and taken away, carried by angels, unseen, under the inspection of the Lord Jesus, our Eleazar. Care is also taken of the body, the skin and flesh, which are as the curtains, the bones and sinews which are as the bars and pillars, none of these shall be lost. Commandment is given concerning the bones, a covenant made with the dust, these are in safe custody, and shall all be produced in the great day, when this tabernacle shall be set up again, and these vile bodies made like the glorious body of Jesus Christ. 34 And Moses and Aaron and the chief of the congregation numbered the sons of the Kohathites after their families, and after the house of their fathers, 35 from 30 years old and upward even unto 50 years old, every one that entereth into the service, for the work in the tabernacle of the congregation, 36 And those that were numbered of them by their families were 2,750. 37 These were they that were numbered of the families of the Kohathites, all that might do service in the tabernacle of the congregation, which Moses and Aaron did number according to the commandment of the Lord by the hand of Moses. 38 And those that were numbered of the sons of Gershon, throughout their families, and by the house of their fathers, 39 from 30 years old and upward even unto 50 years old, every one that entereth into the service, for the work in the tabernacle of the congregation, 40 Even those that were numbered of them, throughout their families, by the house of their fathers, were 2,630. 41 These are they that were numbered of the families of the sons of Gershon, of all that might do service in the tabernacle of the congregation, whom Moses and Aaron did number according to the commandment of the Lord. 42 And those that were numbered of the families of the sons of Merari, throughout their families, by the house of their fathers, 43 from 30 years old and upward even unto 50 years old, every one that entereth into the service, for the work in the tabernacle of the congregation, 44 Even those that were numbered of them after their families, were 3,200. 45 These be those that were numbered of the families of the sons of Merari, whom Moses and Aaron numbered according to the word of the Lord by the hand of Moses. 46 All those that were numbered of the Levites, whom Moses and Aaron and the chief of Israel numbered, after their families, and after the house of their fathers, 47 from 30 years old and upward even unto 50 years old, every one that came to do the service of the ministry, and the service of the burden in the tabernacle of the congregation, 48 Even those that were numbered of them, were 8,540. 49 According to the commandment of the Lord they were numbered by the hand of Moses, every one according to his service, and according to his burden, thus were they numbered of him, as the Lord commanded Moses. We have here a particular account of the numbers of the three families of the Levites respectively, that is, of the effective men, between 30 years old and 50. Observe, 1. The Kohathites were, in all, 8,600 from a month old and upwards, but of these there were but 2,750 serviceable men, not a third part. The Gershonites in all, 7,500, and of them, but 2,630 serviceable men, little more than a third part. Note, of the many that add to the numbers of the church, there are comparatively but few that contribute to the service of it. So it has been, and so it is. Many have a place in the tabernacle that do but little of the work of the tabernacle. Philippians 2 verses 20 and 21. 2. That the Merarites were but 6,200 in all, and yet of these there were 3,200 serviceable men, that is, more than half. The greatest burden lay upon that family, the boards, and pillars, and sockets, and God so ordered it that, though they were the fewest in number, yet they should have the most able men among them. For whatever service God calls men to, He will furnish them for it, and give strength in proportion to the work, grace sufficient. 3. The whole number of the able men of the tribe of Levi who entered into God's host to war His warfare was but 8580, whereas the able men of the other tribes that entered into the host of Israel to war their warfare were many more. The least of the tribes had almost 4 times as many able men as the Levites, and some of them more than 8 times as many. For those that are engaged in the service of this world, and war after the flesh, are many more than those that are devoted to the service of God, and fight the good fight of faith.